Vasani Gaurava. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are going to continue reading from Canto 5 of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 19, text 28. So we had been hearing how the demigods, they are praying and they are regretting kind of. They're like, oh, why aren't we born in this, on this planet Earth, in this land of Bharatvarsh, so that we can also engage in devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead. Although the demigods are devotees of God, but because there's so much enjoyment in the heavenly planets, sometimes they're not able to take up devotional service very seriously. So continuing to read. Yadi atra na swarga sukhavasheshitam.
Yadi atra na swarga sukha avisheshitam.
Shrishtasya suktasya kritasya shobhanam.
Sushtasya suktasya kritasya shobhanam.
Tena janabe smritimat janmanasya.
Tena jnabhe smritimat janmasya.
Varshe hariryat pachatam shabtanoti.
Varshe hariyat bhajatam shamtanoti.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. We are now living in the heavenly planets, undoubtedly as a result of our having performed ritualistic ceremonies, pious activities, and yagyas, and having studied the Vedas. However, our lives here will one day be finished. We pray that at that time, if any merit remains from our pious activities, we may again take birth in Bharatvarsh as human beings, able to remember the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord is so kind that He personally comes to the land of Bharatvarsh and expands the good fortune of its people. It is certainly as a result of pious activities that one takes birth in the heavenly planets. But from those planets, one must nevertheless come down again to earth. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Shine Punya Martya Lokam Vishanti. Even the demigods must return to earth to work like ordinary men when the results of their pious activities expire. So here the demigods, they understand that when they were human beings, they did pious activities. They did some ritualistic ceremonies. They've done yagyas, they've studied the Vedas, and as a result, they're living in the heavenly planets. But they also understand that one day, the time will come that they have to leave the heavenly planet. And they are hoping that when that time comes, they can be born as human beings in India, in Bharatvarsh, so that they can engage in devotional service. So they are trying to also makes us realize the importance of being born as human beings in this land. And especially at this time when Lord Chaitanya was just here 500 years ago. So nevertheless, the demigods desire to come to the land of Bharatvarsh, even if even a small portion of the merits of their pious activities remains. In other words, to take birth in Bharatvarsh, one must perform more pious activities than the demigods. So Prabhupada is saying, or to be born here means one has to do more pious activity than to be born as a demigod. In Bharatvarsh, one is naturally Krishna conscious. And if one further cultivates his Krishna consciousness, by the grace of Krishna, he certainly expands his good fortune by becoming perfect in Krishna consciousness. and very easily going back home, back to Godhead. In many other places in the Vedic literature, it is found that even the demigods want to come to this land of Bharatvarsh. A foolish person may desire to be promoted to the heavenly planets as a result of his pious activities. But even the demigods from the heavenly planets want to come to Bharatvarsh and achieve bodies that may be very easily used to cultivate Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu repeatedly says, Bharata bhumite haila manushya janmayar janma sarthaka kari karapara upakar. A human being born in the land of Bharatvarsh has the special prerogative to develop Krishna consciousness. Therefore, those already born in Bharatvarsh should take lessons from the Shastras and Guru and should fully take advantage of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in order to be fully equipped with Krishna consciousness. By taking full advantage of Krishna consciousness, one goes back home, back to Godhead. Yanti madhyajino apimam. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore spreading this facility to human society by opening many, many centers all over the world so that people may associate with the pure devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, understand the science of Krishna consciousness, and ultimately go back home, back to Godhead. So the demigods also want to take birth here. So we should take an advantage that we are already here. So we should become Krishna conscious ourselves and give Krishna consciousness to others. Prabhupada is saying he has established this Krishna consciousness movement for our benefit so that we may be able to associate with the devotees, we can become Krishna conscious and we can give Krishna consciousness to others and go back home, back to Godhead. Shri Shuka Vacha.
Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Jambūdvīpasya cha Rajan Upadvīpan Ashto Haika Upadishanti.
Jambūdvīpasya cha Rajan Updīpan Ashtoh Eke Updishanti.
Sagarat Majer Ashvan Vishana Imam Mahim Parito Nikhanadbir.
Sagat Atmaje Ashva Anveshane Imam Mahim Paritani Khanbadhi.
Upakalpitan tad yatha swarna prashthas Chandra Shukla Avartano.
Upkalpitan tatyatha swarga prasto chandra shulka avtarno.
Ramanako Manda Raharina Panchajanya Simhalo Lanketi.
Ramanako Mandar Harina Pachjanya Simhal Lanka iti.
Sri Sukadev Goswami said, my dear king, in the opinion of some learned scholars, 8 smaller islands surround Jambūdvīpa. When the sons of Maharaj Sagar were searching all over the world for their lost horse, they dug up the earth, and in this way 8 adjoining islands came into existence. The names of these islands are Swarna Prashtha, Chandra Shukla, Avartana, Ramanaka, Mandara Harina, Panchajanya, Simhal, and Lanka. In the Kurma Puran, there is this statement about the desires of the demigods. Andhikarino deva swargastha bharatodbhavam vanchanti atma vimukshartha mudrikarte dikarina. Although the demigods are situated in exalted positions in the heavenly planets, they nevertheless desire to descend to the land of Bharatvarsh on the planet Earth. This indicates that even the demigods are unfit to reside in Bharatvarsh. Therefore, if persons already born in Bharatvarsh live like cats and dogs, not taking full advantage of their birth in this land, They are certainly unfortunate. So why do the demigods want to take birth here in Bharatvarsh?
Because they want to engage in devotional service.
Yeah, that's right. They want to engage in devotional service. They're saying they're not able to engage in devotional service in the heavenly planets. And they're saying they want to engage in devotional service and then go back home, back to Godhead. Because from the heavenly planets, they are not able to go back to Godhead. So they're saying it's a shorter way. Come here to the earth, engage in devotional service, and then go back home. Evam tava bharatotama Jambūdvīpa varsha vibhago.
एवं तव भारत उत्तमा जम्बूद्वीप वर्ष विभागो
Yathopadesham upavarnita iti.
यथा उपदेशम उपवर्णित इति.
My dear King Parikshit, O best of the descendants of Bharat Maharaj, I have thus described to you, as I myself have been instructed, the island of Bharatvarsh and its adjoining islands. These are the islands that constitute Jambūdvīpa. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 19th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled, A Description of the Island of Jambūdvīpa. Going on to chapter 20, Studying the Structure of the Universe. In this chapter, there is a description of various islands, beginning with Lakshadweep and the oceans that surround them. There is also a description of the location and dimensions of the mountain known as Loka. The island of Lakshadweep is twice as broad as Jambūdvīpa, which is surrounded by an ocean of salt water. The master of this island is Majhiva, one of the sons of Maharaj Priyavrat. The island is divided into 7 regions, each with a mountain and a large river. The second island is called Shalmalidvip. It is surrounded by an ocean of liquor and is 3,200,000 miles wide, twice as wide as Plakshadweep. The master of this island is Yagyabahu, one of the sons of Maharaj Priyavrat. Like Plakshadweep, this island is also divided into 7 regions, each with a mountain and a very large river. The inhabitants of this island worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Chandratma. So there is Plakshadweep, and then Idmajiva is ruling that island. And this is twice bigger than Jambūdvīpa. Then twice bigger than Plakshadweep is Shalmalidvip. This is surrounded by ocean of liquor. And Yagyabahu is there ruling and worshipping Chandratma, Supreme Lord in his form as Chandratma. The third island, which is surrounded by an ocean of clarified butter and is also divided into 7 regions, is called Kushadweep. Its master is Hiranyareta, another son of Maharaj Priyavrat, and its inhabitants worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Agni, the fire god. The width of this island is 6.4 million miles, or in other words, twice the width of Shalmalidvip. So bigger, twice the size than Shalmalidvip is Kushadweep, ruled by Hiranyareta, also another son of Maharaj Priyavrat, and they are worshipping the Supreme Lord in his form as Agni. The fourth island, Kraunchadweep, which is surrounded by an ocean of milk, is 12.8 million miles wide and is also divided like the others into 7 regions, each with a large mountain and a large river. So all of them have these 7 divisions and they all have these mountains. Each of these regions has their big mountain and a river. The master of this island is Dhritarashtra, another son of Maharaj Priyavrat, the inhabitants of this island worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of water, and Jambūdvīpa is surrounded by ocean of milk. So anywhere we are going, they're all worshipping the Supreme Lord in his different expansion. The fifth island, Jambūdvīpa, which is 25.6 million miles wide, is surrounded by an ocean of yogurt. Its master is Medha Tithi, another son of Maharaj Priyavrat. It is also divided into 7 regions, each with a large mountain and a large river. Its inhabitants worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Vayu, air. So Krishna says also in Bhagavad Gita, of all the purifiers, I'm the wind. Vayu here. He's being worshipped as Vayu in this island of Jambūdvīpa. The sixth island, Pushkaradvip, which is twice as wide as the previous island, is surrounded by an ocean of clear water. Its master is Vittihotra, another son of Maharaj Priyavrat. The island is divided in two by a large mountain named Mana Sotara. The inhabitants of this island worship Swayambhu, another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Beyond Puksharadvip, there are 2 islands, one always lit by the sunshine and the other always dark. Between them is a mountain called Lokaloka, which is situated 1 billion miles from the edge of the universe. Lord Narayan, expanding his opulence, resides upon this mountain. The area beyond Lokaloka mountain is called Alokavarsh, and beyond Alokavarsh is the pure destination of persons who desire liberation. Vertically, the sun globe is situated just in the middle of the universe, in Antariksh, the space between Bhurlok and Bhuvarlok. The distance between the sun and the circumference of Golak, the globe of the universe, is estimated to be 25 koti yojanas, 2 billion miles. Because the sun enters the universe and divides the sky, it is known as Martanda. And because it is produced from Hiranyagarbha, the body of the Mahatattva, it is also called Hiranyagarbha. Okay. So it's very technical, the structure of the universe we are hearing. Shri Shuka Vacha.
Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Ata Param Lakshadinam Pramana Lakshana Samsthana To Varsha Vibhaga Upavarnyate.
Atta Parama Palaksha Adhinama Pramana Lakshana Sansthanata Varsha Vibhaga Upavarnayate.
The great Sage Sukadev Goswami said, hereafter I shall describe the dimensions, characteristics, and forms of the 6 islands, beginning with the island of Plaksha. Jambūdvīpa yam yavat pramana vistaras-tavata sharodadina.
Jambūdvīpa ayam yavata pramana vistaro tavatah sharudina.
Pariveshtito yatha meru jamba akhyena lavanodadir api tatodvi.
Pariveshtita yatha meru jambu akhyena lavana udati api tadvi.
Guna vishalena plakshakhyena parikshipto yatha parikha.
Guna vikshalena palaksha akhyena parikshipta yatha parikha.
Vayopavanena plaksho jambu pramano dvipakhya karo.
Brahma upavanena palaksho jambu pramana dvipa akhya karo.
Hiranmaya uthito yatragni upaste sapta jivastasya adhipati.
हिरण्मयो उत्पत्ति यत्र अग्नि उपासते सप्त जीवः तस्य आधिपति
Priyavartatmaja idmaji va swamdvipam sapta varshani vibhajya.
प्रियव्रत आत्मजः इदं जीह स्वद्वीपं सप्त वर्षाणि विभाजय
सप्त वर्षा नामभ्य आत्मजेभ्य आकल्य स्वयं आत्मा योगेनो परराम.
सप्तवर्षनामभय आत्मजेभ्य आकल्य स्वयं आत्मयोगेन उपरराम.
As Sumeru mountain is surrounded by Jambūdvīpa, Jambūdvīpa is also surrounded by an ocean of salt water. So Sumeru mountain was the center, was surrounded by Jambūdvīpa. Now Jambūdvīpa is surrounded by an ocean of salt water. The breadth of Jambūdvīpa is 100,000 yojanas, 800,000 miles. And the breadth of the saltwater ocean is the same. So as wide as the Jambūdvīpa, as wide as the ocean. As a moat around a fort is sometimes surrounded by a garden-like forest, the saltwater ocean surrounding Jambūdvīpa is itself surrounded by Plakshadvīpa. And then this ocean of water is surrounded by Plakshadvīpa. The breadth of Plakshadvīpa is twice that of the saltwater ocean, in other words, 200,000 yojanas, 1.6 million miles. So the saltwater is 800,000. So Plakshadvīpa is double. So it's 1.6 million miles. On Plakshadvīpa, there is a tree shining like gold and as tall as the Jambu tree on Jambūdvīpa. At its root is a fire with 7 flames. It is because this tree is a Plaksha tree that the island is called Plakshadvīpa. Plakshadvīpa was governed by Idmajiva, one of the sons of Maharaj Priyavrat. He endowed the 7 islands with the names of his 7 sons, divided the islands among the sons, and then retired from active life to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So Idmajiva is a son of Maharaj Priyavrat. His Plakshadvīpa is divided into 7 islands. He's given each of his sons 1 island to rule, and he's retired to engage in devotional service.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Just one question. So that means all these islands are situated in this universe where the earth is,
Yes.
right? So it's
Yes.
So they are all describing about this universe, right?
Yes, that's right. This universe where we are right now.
We are, yeah.
Yeah. Shivam Yavasam Subhadram Shantam Shemam Amritam Abhayamiti.
शिवं यवसं सुभद्रं शान्तं क्षेमम् अमृतम् अभयम् इति
Varsha Aniteshu Girayo Nadyascha Saptevabhigyata Manikuto.
वर्षाणि तेषु गिरयस्य नद्धस्य च सप्तः एव अभिज्ञातमणिकुटो
Vajrakuta Indraseno Jyotishman Suparno Hiranyasthivo Megamala.
वज्रकूट इंद्रसेनो ज्योतिषीमान् सुपर्ण हिरण्य सृष्ट्व मेघमाल
Iti Setu Shela Aruna Rimman Girasi Savitri Suprabhata Ritambara.
इति सेतु शैले अरुणानृम्ना अंगिरसी सावित्री सुप्त भागा ऋतंभरा
Satyambara iti Mahanadya Yasam Jalopasparshana Viduta.
Satyambhara iti mahanadya yasam jal upsparshanam vidhuta.
Rajas tamaso hamsa patangortvayana satyanga samgyas.
Rajastamso hamsa patanga udhavaya jan satyanga samgya.
Chatvaro varna sahas rayusho vibudhopama sandarshana.
Chatvaro varna sahastra ayusha vibudha upama sandarshana.
Prajanana swargadvaram traya vidyaya bhagavantam.
Prajanana swarnadwaram trayaya vidhaya bhagavantam.
Trayimayam suryam atmanam yajante.
Trayimayam suryam atmanam yajante.
The 7 islands, Varshas, are named according to the names of those 7 sons, Shiva, Yavas, Subhadra, Shanta, Shema, Amrita, and Abhay. In those 7 tracts of land, there are 7 mountains and 7 rivers. The mountains are named Manikutta, Vajrakut, Indrasen, Jyotisman, Suparna, Hiranyasthiva, and Megama. And the rivers are named Aruna, Nrimna, Angirasi, Savitri, Suptabhata, Ritambara, and Satyambara. One can immediately be free from material contamination by touching or bathing in those rivers. And the four castes of people who live in Lakshadweep, the Hamsas, Patangas, Urdhva, Yanas, and Satyangas, purify themselves in that way. The inhabitants of Lakshadweep live for 1,000 years. They are beautiful like the demigods, and they also beget children like the demigods. By completely performing the ritualistic ceremonies mentioned in the Vedas, and by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as represented by the sun god, they attain the sun, which is a heavenly planet. According to general understanding, there are originally 3 deities, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. And people with a poor fund of knowledge consider Lord Vishnu no better than Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. This conclusion, however, is invalid. Because, one may not know the distinction between Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. And one may think Lord Vishnu is same like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. But as stated in the Vedas, Ishtapurtam Bahuda Jayamanam Vishvam Vibharti Bhuvanasya Nabi Tad Evagnis Tad Vayus Tad Suryas Tad Chandrama Agni Sarvadivataha. This means that the Supreme Lord, who accepts and enjoys the results of Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, technically called Ishtapurta, who maintains the entire creation, who supplies the necessities of all living entities, Eko Bahunam Yovidadati Kaman, and who is the central point of all creation, is Lord Vishnu. So there is a difference in the position of Lord Vishnu and the position of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's the Supreme Lord. He's the one who's maintaining us. He's the creator of this material world. He's the one who enjoys all the sacrifices, all the yagyas, all the sacrifices. He's the enjoyer. He's the one who accepts them. Lord Vishnu expands as the demigods known as Agni, Vayu, Surya, and Chandra, who are simply parts and parcels of his body. Lord Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavad Gita 9.23, Api yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvita tepi mam eva kaunteya yajanti avedi purvakam. Devotees who worship the demigods with firm faith worship me also, but not according to regulative principles. In other words, if one worships the demigods but does not understand the relationship between the demigods and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his worship is irregular. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita 9:24, hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhur evacha. I am the only enjoyer of ritualistic ceremonies. So Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita that one may be worshipping the demigods, but actually this person who's worshipping the demigods is worshipping Krishna, but indirectly. They're also worshipping Krishna, but not directly, but indirectly. So Krishna is the enjoyer of all the rituals, all the penances, all the sacrifices are meant for satisfaction of Krishna. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, text 29. It may be argued that the demigods are as important as Lord Vishnu because the names of demigods are different names of Vishnu. This, however, is not a sound conclusion, for it is contradicted in the Vedic literatures. So the Vedas are explaining to us the position of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, Vedascha sarver aham eva vedya. He's saying by all the Vedas I am to be known. So all the Vedas are trying to explain to us the position of Krishna, the position of Vishnu, of Narayan. They are telling us there's a difference between God and the individual soul. Chandrama manaso jatas, chaksho surya ajayat, Shotradayascha pranascha mukhad agnir ajayata. Narayanad Brahma Narayanad Rudra jayate. Narayanad Prajapati jayate. Narayanad Indra jayate. Narayanad Ashtav Vasavo jayante. Narayanad Ekadash Rudra jayante. The demigod of the moon, Chandra, came from the mind of Narayan, and the sun god came from his eyes. The controlling deities of hearing and the life air came from Narayan, and the controlling deity of fire was generated from his mouth. Prajapati, Lord Brahma, came from Narayan, Indra came from Narayan, and the 8 Vasus, the 11 expansions of Lord Shiva, and the 12 Adityas also came from Narayan. So we can see these different demigods, they are powerful personalities. They are not ordinary persons, these demigods. But the Vedas are telling us where did they come from? They're coming from Narayan. They're all coming from Narayan. They're not independent. They're not self-manifested. They are being created by Narayan. In the Smriti Vedic literature, it is also said, Brahma Shambhus Tathai Varkash Chandramas Shatakratu Evam Adyas Tathai Vanye Yukta Vaishnav Tejasa Jagat Karya Vasani Tu Viyujyante Jatejasa Vitejas Jate Sarve Panchatvam Upayanti Te. Brahma, Shambhu, Surya and Indra are all merely products of the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also true of the many other demigods whose names are not mentioned here. When the cosmic manifestation is annihilated, these different expansions of Narayan's potencies will merge into Narayan. In other words, all these demigods will die, their living force will be withdrawn, and they will merge into Narayan. So the Smritis are saying all these great personalities, Brahma, Shambhu, Surya, Indra, they're all energy of God, part and parcel of God, Supreme Lord. And when they die, when the material world is unmanifest, when it is withdrawn, when the creation is withdrawn into the body of Mahavishnu, So all these demigods, they also come inside the body of Mahavishnu. Not that they become Vishnu. They still remain separate individuals. They stay there, waiting till the time for the next creation to happen. Or if it's time for them to go back home, they will go back home. So there's a difference between the position of the demigods and the position of Narayan. Narayan is the creator. Therefore, it should be concluded that Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, or not Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As a government officer, sometimes accepted as the entire government, although he's actually but a departmental manager. So the demigods, having achieved power of attorney from Vishnu, act on his behalf, although they are not as powerful as he. So the demigods, they are receiving their power from Lord Vishnu. They are given certain capacity to rule under, like Lord Indra. He's controlling the clouds, the rains. So this authority is given to him by Krishna. Therefore, it is said, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabhabhratya. The only master is Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu, and all others are his obedient servants who act exactly according to his orders. So the sun rises and sets in its orbit, the moon, the planets are moving, everything is happening under the orders of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. The distinction between Lord Vishnu and the demigods is also expressed in Bhagavad Gita 9.25. Yanti deva vrata devan, pitrin yanti pitra vrata, bhutani yanti bhutejya, yanti madhyajino pimam. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, whereas the worshippers of Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu go to the planets in Vaikuntha. So we can see, based on our desire, Krishna is very kind. He fulfills our desire. Whatever faith one has, Krishna is the one who strengthens that faith. And he's saying, whoever you worship, that's where you're going to go. Somebody is worshipping Surya Dev, he'll go to the planet of the sun. Somebody is worshipping Indra Dev, he'll go to the heavenly planets where Lord Indra is. Somebody is worshipping Krishna, he's going to go to Golok Vrindavan to be with Krishna. These are the statements of the Smriti. Therefore, the idea that Lord Vishnu is on the same level as the demigods is in contradiction to the Shastras. So the Shastras are explaining to us the position of the demigods as part and parcels, as servants of Krishna. They are the post. They have these different posts in the management of the universe. The demigods are not supreme. The supremacy of the demigods is dependent on the mercy of Lord Narayan, Vishnu, or Krishna. So the demigods are getting their powers from Lord Krishna or Lord Narayan or Lord Vishnu. So whichever demigod it may be, he's getting their power. They're getting their powers from the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Anyone wanted to add anything? Comment? Question? Yeah. So going on. Patnasya Vishnu Rupam Yat.
Padmasya Vishnu Rupam
Satyas Yartasya Brahmana.
Satyasya Tritasya Brahmana
Amritasya cha mrityoscha.
Amritasya cha mrityoscha
Suryam Atmanam Imhiti.
Suryam Atmanam Imhiti.
This is the mantra by which the inhabitants of Plakshadweep worship the Supreme Lord. Let us take shelter of the Sun God, who is a reflection of Lord Vishnu, the all-expanding Supreme Personality of Godhead, the oldest of all persons. Vishnu is the only worshipable Lord. He's the Vedas. He is religion. And he is the origin of all auspicious and inauspicious results. Lord Vishnu is even the Supreme Lord of Death, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Mrityu Sarvas Haraschaham. There are two kinds of activity, auspicious and inauspicious. And both are controlled by Lord Vishnu. Inauspicious activities are said to be behind Lord Vishnu, whereas auspicious activities stand before him. Behind means at the backside. Maya, the bad things are at the back of Lord Vishnu, at the backside. Whereas all the goodness, all the good things are in the front. The auspicious and the inauspicious exist throughout the entire world, and Lord Vishnu is the controller of them both. So it's not that God does not control the bad things. He controls everything. Because someone may say, well, there's no anger in God. No, he has. There cannot exist something which does not exist in God. But when someone will say, well, but anger is bad. Yeah, but then when the Lord uses it, it's very good. It's because we don't know how to use anger. When the Lord became angry, for example, with Yashoda, oh, you are putting me down. You are not feeding me. You're putting me down. And he broke the pot of yogurt. He was actually angry. The acharyas say that he bit his lips and, but then his anger is also so pleasing. So everything is there in the Lord. It's not that there is anything missing. It's just that the bad, inauspicious things are on his back. The auspicious are in the front. In regard to this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Surya Somadne Varshisha Vidha Vidha Trishu Yathakramam Plaksha Vidvip Samsthasu Stitam Harimupasate. There are many, many lands, fields, mountains, and oceans throughout the creation. And everywhere the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by its different names. So we are hearing now that there are so many different of these islands that we are hearing. Jambūdvīpa, and there was Ilavrat, and there was whatnot. Now we are reading of Lakshadweep. There were so many different islands. Everywhere there's different, and everywhere Krishna is being worshipped in his some form or the other. There's so many different forms of Krishna. And so all the living entities everywhere are worshipping Krishna. Srila Viraragavacharya explains this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam as follows. The original cause of the cosmic manifestation must be the oldest person and must therefore be beyond material transformations. So Srila Viraragavacharya, he's saying, the creator of this material world has to be the oldest person, no? Because he's the one who's the creator. So means someone who's even older than Lord Brahma, because someone who existed before Lord Brahma, who created Lord Brahma. And so he must be beyond material transformations, just as even Adi Shankaracharya says, Narayana Paravyakta, that Narayan is beyond this material world. He's not of this material world. He's creating the material world. He's the enjoyer of all auspicious activities and is the cause of conditional life and also liberation. Cause of conditional life. So one will say, oh, I'm here in this material world because God has put me here. Well, but why did he put us here? It's because of our own desire. And if we desire liberation, then God will make the give us those suitable opportunities by which we can get liberated from this material world. The demigod Surya, who's categorized as a very powerful jiva or living entity, is a representation of one of the parts of his body. So here Surya Dev is a demigod, he's a great demigod, very powerful personality. But he is also a living entity. He's an individual soul. Although he's very, very powerful, imagine the sun god. Without the sun, the universe would collapse. So how much power he has. But he is also an individual soul. He is also part and parcel of God. We are naturally subordinate to powerful living entities, and therefore we can worship the various demigods as living beings who are powerful representatives of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the way, if one wants to worship demigods, is to understand them as part and parcel of God. The demigods are part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. Although the worship of the sun god is recommended in this mantra, he is worshipped not as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but as his powerful representative. So Prabhupada is saying that in this mantra is for worship of the sun god. But we have to understand the sun god's position that he is not God himself, but he's a representative of God. Representative of one of the powers of God. In the Kathopanishad 1.3.1, it is stated, Ritam pibanto sukritasya loke guham pravishto parame pararthe chaya tapo brahma vido vadanti panchagnayo ye chatri nachiketa. O Nachiket, the expansions of Lord Vishnu as the tiny living entity and the super soul are both situated within the cave of the heart of this body. Having entered that cavity, the living entity resting on the chief of the life airs enjoys the results of activities, and the super soul, acting as a witness, enables him to enjoy. Those who are well versed in knowledge of Brahman and those householders who carefully follow the Vedic regulations say that the difference between the two is like the difference between a shadow and the sun. So the living entity is a part and parcel of God. Those who have knowledge, those who have understood the knowledge of Brahman, they understand that the Supreme Lord and this individual soul, although they are both sitting in the heart of the living entity, they are different. So one who is in knowledge actually understands the difference. That one is God and one is the individual soul. Like the shadow and the sun, there is a difference. In the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.16, it is said, Sa Vishvakrit Vishva Vidatmayoni Gya Kalakaro Guni Sarva Vidya Pradhana Kshetra Gyapatir Gunesha Samsara Moksha Sthiti Bandha Hetu. The Supreme Lord, the creator of this cosmic manifestation, knows every nook and corner of his creation. Although he is the cause of creation, there is no cause for his appearance. He is fully aware of everything. He is the super soul, the master of all transcendental qualities. And he's the master of this cosmic manifestation in regard to bondage to the conditional stage of material existence and liberation from that bondage. So the Svateshvatara Upanishad is saying that this material world is created by God. So he knows every nook and corner of this material creation. He knows everywhere. You know, we are trying to understand this structure of the universe. There are these different islands and these different planets. We don't even know this planet Earth properly. But Krishna, because he's created this entire material world, he knows every tiny bit of area of this material world, every nook and corner. So he's the Paramatma, He has transcendental qualities. God has qualities. He has transcendental qualities, and he's completely cognizant. He's fully aware of everything. One may think that God has no form, he has no energy, no life, he does nothing, he does not know anything. No, but God is the supreme being. So he has everything, all the energy, all the qualities. He's completely conscious. He's the master of this material world, and it's from whom? It's from him that we can get liberation. By surrendering to him, we can get liberation. Similarly, in the Caitaniya Upanishad 2.8, it is said, Vishasmad vata pavate vishodeti surya Vishasmad agnis chandrascha mrityu dhavati pancham. It is out of fear of the Supreme Brahman that the wind is blowing, out of fear of him that the sun regularly rises and sets, and out of fear of him that fire acts. It is only due to fear of him that Death and Indra, the king of heaven, perform their respective duties. So Caitaniya Upanishad is saying, why does the wind blow? Out of fear of God. Why is the sun in its orbit never late? It's by the fear of God. It's an order of God. Death comes, it's an order of God. Indra, he is doing his duties. Why? Because these duties are given to him by God. As described in this chapter, the inhabitants of the 5 islands, beginning with Lakshadweep, worship the sun god, the moon god, the fire god, the air god, and Lord Brahma, respectively. Although they engage in the worship of these 5 demigods, however, they actually worship Lord Vishnu, the super soul of all living entities, as indicated in this verse by the words Pratnasya Vishnu Rupam. Vishnu is Brahma, Amrit, Mrityu, the supreme Brahman, and the origin of everything, auspicious and inauspicious. He is situated in the heart of everyone, including all the demigods. So the Paramatma, he's there in our hearts. He's also in the hearts of the demigods. He's also sitting in the heart of Brahma, in the heart of Lord Shiva, in the heart of Lord Surya Dev, everyone. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.20, Kamesteste Shrita Jnana Prapadyantanya Devata. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto the demigods. People who are almost blind because of lusty desires are recommended to worship the demigods, to have the material desires fulfilled. But actually those desires are not fulfilled by the material demigods. Whatever the demigods do is done with the sanction of the Lord Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu. People who are too lusty worship various demigods instead of worshipping Lord Vishnu, the super soul of all living entities. But ultimately, it is Lord Vishnu they worship because he is the super soul of all demigods. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that those who are worshipping the demigods are also actually worshipping him, but only indirectly. Because the demigods also belongs to Krishna. Demigods are part and parcels of Krishna. The demigods have their powers. Those powers are given to them by Krishna. So whoever is worshipping the demigods is also worshipping Krishna, but just indirectly. So the Krishna is saying, directly worship me. You directly worship me, and by doing so, gradually, your heart will get purified and you can get out of this material world. I will give you liberation. I will bring you out of this material world. So that's why Krishna is always encouraging us to worship him directly instead of indirectly. So here, these different demigods are being worshipped, but actually it is Lord Krishna who's being worshipped because the demigods are also part and parcel of Krishna. So we'll stop here. Did anyone want to add anything? Comment anything?
So here, when they say auspicious and inauspicious activities, it means auspicious means devotional. devotional service, like engaging in devotional service, and inauspicious means material activities, right?
Yeah, we can say that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So inauspicious is behind the back of.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Maya, she's the shadow of Krishna, so she's behind Krishna. That's how they explain. So because everything exists in Krishna, all the activities also are there. So one may say then, oh, then why bad exists in God? Well, it's at the backside, not in the front side, in the shadow, in the back. Yeah, so you can say the spiritual activities at the front, material at the back. Yeah. Yes. You can say like that.
Like how, like chanting and
Yes.
praying. So that is all auspicious, spiritual.
Yes. Spiritual. Yes. Yes.
It's not considered
That's
material.
no. Very auspicious.
Correct.
Very auspicious activities. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's stop here. Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare
Jai.
Krishna.